everyone, and welcome to the Crows Show, brought to you on this bye weekend by Foodland. I'm Mark Bickley.
And I'm Alana Smith. Yes, the boys have had the opportunity to recover and regroup before returning for the final 9 games in the home and away season.
Yes, and shortly we'll look at the pros and cons of the bye.
And later reflect on what the team has done during the week.
But first, the Crows have certainly faced more than a few challenges in the first half of the season. A significant injury list and some mixed form have given Dom Pyke plenty to think about. But over a long and successful career, the coach has had to deal with his own trials and tribulations, so he's well placed to deal with these testing times.
You know, if I was going to say, there were 3 things. First thing is to stay positive, be really positive on where you're going and be clear on where you're going. Second thing is to continue to maintain your belief in the people. We've got some excellent people at our footy club in all areas, in all layers, and believe in your people and trust in your people. And the third thing is to stay together. That's the thing which holds footy clubs together in difficult times, which every club's going to go through at various periods. Now, my first couple of years we had a pretty good run, and this year it's been some challenges put in front of us through circumstances, and it's how we react to those and how we stay together to really find our way through those. And that's why I'm really excited about the last half of the year, because this is the beauty of life, is you get tested, and we're being tested, and that's fine. That's what life's about. It's how we respond to that and how we stay together and find a way. And I'm really confident in the people we've got and the program we've got that in the last half of the year we'll stand up and make our way back to playing some really good, strong, consistent footy.
And now Betts with an opportunity about 50 metres out. Oh yes, yes, yes.
The reality is we've lacked the consistency of how we play, and probably consistency with our playing group as well, to get guys in regularly and playing to their level. And out of that, we've generated some great opportunities from young players, and we've seen the emergence of some first-year players. Some of our guys who've been on the list for a while now are playing some more regular footy as well, and Cam Ellis-Yeoman back from an ACL, and Huey Greenwood. There's been some exciting signs out of that, but overall I'd say first half of the year has been inconsistent.
Well, the Crows face a stern test in the weeks ahead. 6 of their last 9 games are against top 8 sides, plus the Giants just outside the 8. So what about the bye? Mark, first of all, what do you see as some of the advantages?
Well, right now it's a good break for Adelaide in terms of just a mental break, being able to get away for a week or so, and then secondly is the physical aspect of it. So, this time of the year there's always players that have got sore spots and niggles, so they'll get a chance to recover from that, and also they've got 4 or 5 players who aren't far away from coming back. So after the break, I'm expecting that you get some quality back, but also a chance to hit the reset button, come back and attack the last half of the year.
But teams don't always come back in winning form. There's generally poor records in that sense. Are there certain disadvantages to taking that break? Yeah, look, maybe if you come back, and you can be a little bit laconic coming back from the break in terms of you step outside of your routine for a week or two, and you need to be making sure that you're really switched on when that starts again. The only other disadvantage, I guess, is if you're on a bit of a roll. So some teams have momentum, might have won 2 or 3 games in a row, and the bye comes and breaks that momentum. But by and large, I think most teams enjoy it because it is that chance to physically reset, and whilst you may not notice it now, particularly towards the end of the year and come finals time, your body will appreciate it. In terms of the Crows and their case at the moment, everyone's saying it couldn't have come at a better time. What do you think it will specifically do for them? Yeah, well, firstly, as I mentioned, that mental reset is, I think, really important for Adelaide. They've found themselves in a bit of a rut the last 4 weeks, so for the players just to get away, clear their head, spend some time with their family, and hopefully they come back a little bit refreshed and recharged, and their mind's a little bit clearer to attack what's going to be a pretty tough last 9 weeks for the year. There's no doubt that physically they've got some guys who are sore and a little bit banged up, so I'd expect those guys to really appreciate having that extra break. Yeah, we've all got our fingers crossed that is the case. Thanks very much, Mark. Well, the Adelaide Football Club's decision to acquire a baseball team is yet another example of its growth agenda and push for greater exposure in global markets. As the new owners of the Adelaide Bite, the Crows are now overseeing the recruitment of several overseas players who'll compete in the revamped Australian Baseball League. The Bite will continue to be based close by at West Beach.
1, 2, 3. Having been here for the 10 years since we started, it's nothing but excitement, and the positivity around the announcement and the inclusion that we've got now to work with the bigger entity that's coming in to work with us is absolutely the most exciting thing I think that's happened in baseball in some time. I think it just solidifies what we've been trying to do. So we've had all of the departments that are covered now by our partner in the Crows, but now we get the opportunity to really expand upon some of the ideas that we've had over the time. And the one thing we haven't always had the ability to do is plan well enough and have the resource around it so that we can execute. Now I think that that's a definite reality. We've had a fantastic history, albeit it's not recent history that's had success. So we haven't won a championship since 1980 in the Claxton Shield, which is the title that we all vie for. Started back at Norwood Oval in 1952 with night baseball. It's had a checkered history over the recent times. We've had success. We've probably been in the grand final, as you call it in football. We call it the Championship Series more than any other team, or as much as any other team, but we haven't got over the line. So we've traditionally put it between the end of the Major League season and the start of spring training the following year. So we'll run from about the middle of November for 10 weeks straight, with Christmas falling midweek this year. So we'll just run the 10 weekends straight with 40 games over that 10 weeks, with 20 at home and 20 on the road. And then we'll finish up at about the end of January, when hopefully the playoffs will be the last weekend in January, and the start of February right here at West Beach, we hope.
The Bite will compete against teams from Korea and New Zealand when the new league launches later this year. Still to come on The Crow Show, versatile veteran Richard Douglas looks back on 13 years at the top. And pint-sized Poppy loves taking the big grab.
Welcome back. Well, the average career of an AFL footballer is 5 years or less, which makes the achievement of Richard Douglas even more remarkable. He's just signed a new contract, which will see him play his 14th season for the Crows in 2019. Over that time, he's seen a huge turnover of players and coaches across the league, as well as numerous rule changes. So he's well qualified to talk about how the game has evolved and the current state of play.
We should mention the number 26 is, of course, making his debut, Richard Douglas.
Got it up to Douglas, bends it around, and they've got two in a row.
You never quite know where you sit in the group when you get north of 30, but the club's been great to me over the years, and so I'm really excited, to finish off this year and go into 2019. So it's great.
Gets it across to Lynch, back to Douglas, full chested. He goes in and kicks the goal.
I remember coming to Adelaide as a young kid when I was 18, and Craigie said, he wants me to play for this club for 10 years and play 200 games. So I've thankfully had the opportunity to do that and hanging around for a bit longer, which has been great. But yeah, obviously love the footy club, love the environment, the people in it. So for me, it was a pretty simple choice to hang around.
So there's sub news right down here. Rory Sloan has been subbed out. Ellis Yeoman in.
The sub was probably one for me that had a bit of a fair impact on the game. I never loved it. I don't think anyone did. And rightly, the AFL got rid of it. I think the holding the ball rules probably changed, or the interpretations changed a number of times. The pushing the back, no third man up. The goal review systems come in, obviously. The game's ever evolving, but hopefully to the fans, it's still as good to watch as it was 10, 15 years ago.
Tied in on the boundary line, lines him up, he's going to have to kick it because there's no one to go. Keep running, he runs in and kicks a goal. Douglas goes berserk, AV Stadium stands up.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm a traditionalist, but in saying that, I think the game's in an interesting period now. Game's obviously looking to expand internationally, so how we can make the game more attractive as a product has come into question. Obviously it's still a great contest, but whether the spectacle has dropped away, I'm not too sure. The AFL have set up those committees to look at the game as a whole, and I'm sure they'll come up with some good things. So I'm pretty confident the game's in good hands.
Oh, that is class. That is all class.
All going well, Dougie will next year become the 9th pro to play 250 games. Well, one man who hasn't been able to add to his tally of games this year is, of course, Brodie Smith. But we've been able to keep him busy by letting him get to know some of the club's youngest members, all thanks to Thomas Farms.
Welcome to the Thomas Farms Junior Jam. This week we've got Lincoln. G'day Lincoln, you a bit nervous? You'll be right, mate. Can you tell me how old you are?
6.
Do you play football?
Not that much.
Yeah, and who's your favourite player?
Eddie.
Eddie Betts. And why is Eddie Betts your favourite player?
Because he kicks a lot of goals.
If you could take an animal from the zoo, what would you take?
A monkey.
A monkey. And how would you get the monkey? How would you get it out of the zoo?
I break it with my fist.
You'd break the zoo with your fist. So you're pretty strong. If you could change one thing about school, what would you change?
That every recess we could do whatever we want.
You could do whatever you want. What do you do now for recess?
We normally have balls and stuff, but I don't want rules.
What do you want to do at recess?
I just want to do whatever I want.
Play footy?
Yeah.
What would you spend $1 million on?
Footy cards.
Footy cards. That's a good answer. All right, Lincoln, thanks for joining us.
If you'd like to sign up as a junior member of the club and receive all the great benefits, head to 19thman.com.au and don't forget to also check out our new Twitter account @The Crow Show. Now, the success of Hawthorn's Paul Puopolo is one of football's feel-good stories. A mature-age recruit from Norwood, he was taken as pick 66 in the 2010 national draft and went on to play in 3 consecutive premiership sides. Paul is renowned for taking spectacular marks over much taller opponents, particularly Crows, as he recalls in this High Flyers segment brought to you by Flight Centre.
Kelly stands under this. Puopolo takes a classic.
Probably my latest one, I think it was against the Crows. It's probably one of my favourite ones.
Wayne, you called it. Kelly stands under it. That's basically pretty much what he did.
I think it was Kelly. It was out on the wing. It was just a long ball that came in and it ended up dropping short and I ended up just running underneath it. And Kelly was standing under it. Unfortunately for him, he said after me, he goes, "Oh, geez, I don't want to be on that." That's probably just how it played out on the wing and it just dropped short and I just had the opportunity to run and jump for it.
Drives it inside the forward 50. Puopolo!
I think I started as a kid. I think you just muck around when the footy was on Friday night. I was running around, jumping on the couch and taking it from there. And I think one of the guys I looked up to being a Crow supporter as a kid was Modro. He used to take a few. And then Brett Burton was another one that was pretty special at him. So I think from there, I always enjoyed it and always had the opportunity to have a jump. So I just jumped for it.
Jeremy Howe does what Howe does.
Howe's definitely one that's, he could just take him from anywhere on the ground. So he has that special ability. And Cyril's another one that you like to watch and take some marks. So it's always good to see those guys going for him. The game's it's exciting for the game, and you want to see that.
Well, Paul is a product of the Hope Valley Club in Adelaide's northeast. Do stay with us. When Mark returns, we'll hear from one of the shining lights of the 2018 season and putting the winter blues behind you.
Out of adversity comes opportunity. It's a saying that certainly applies to Darcy Fogarty. After the Crows were hit by early season injuries, they turned to their newest recruit and the 18-year-old hasn't looked back. The club's first pick in the 2017 draft debuted in round 1 and immediately impressed everyone with his ruthless competitive streak. Off the field though, Darcy is a quietly spoken country lad, as we discovered in this chat brought to you by Revolution Roofing.
Looks like a genuine footballer.
Yep. An AFL career beckoned for Darcy from an early age, but even he has been amazed at how it all unfolded so quickly.
It's been a bit of a whirlwind with being able to play and having the opportunity so early. I didn't really expect it, but it's obviously been good fun and great opportunity and great experience to be able to experience it so early.
Back home at Lucindale in the southeast, no one is surprised by his meteoric rise. After all, he started training with the senior men's side when he was just 11. So what's been the biggest adjustment he's had to make as an AFL footballer?
Probably just being here as the elite standards and stuff, just being able to back up each session day in, day out, and then being able to fuel your your body with your diet correctly.
Darcy is used to living away from home, first as a boarder at Ross Trevor College and then...
I was lucky enough to live with Rory Atkins before Christmas, so built a bit of a relationship with him and sort of get along with him pretty well, so if I ever need something, sort of bounce off him a bit.
Well, the boy from Lisendale can shell a pea, Doug. He's kicked his second.
He'll never forget his debut against Essendon in round 1, but his first home game against Richmond was equally special.
Be able to play in front of 50,000 people that are pretty well barracking all for you, all for the Crows. It was pretty special to be able to, when someone kicks a goal and then you just hear the roar go up, it's pretty surreal.
Away from football, he likes nothing more than going back to the farm.
I love it, so I was lucky enough to grow up in it and sort of get a feel for it then, so to get back and do it every now and then, it's unreal.
And just like another country boy who wore number 32, let's hope he has a long and successful career at the Crows.
Darcy has just signed a 2-year contract extension, keeping him at the club until the end of 2021. Great news. Now, the Crows may not be playing a game this weekend, but it's certainly not a time for the players to put their feet up. They had 4 days off earlier this week to recover after the Hawthorn game, but training resumed on Friday. They had the equivalent of a main training day yesterday and will have today off before starting a normal training week tomorrow. The Crows' other AFL side is, of course, out of season, which raises the question, what are some of them doing? We've seen co-captain Chelsea Randall working at the club, and now gun midfielder Ebony Marinoff has joined her by taking up a role in the Crows community team. Some of their teammates, though, have turned their back on the Adelaide winter.
So joined the community team about a month ago, so just working with the team, doing carnivals and things like that, and looking a bit into like the growth of women's footy. So a lot of the girls are playing NT Thunder, which has been really good for them. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to be over there last year playing with Darabin, so to hear the girls come back after every weekend playing in the VFL, they're loving it and that's standard. So that's been exciting for them. And a couple of the girls, Justine Mules went over to Europe for a couple of weeks. MJ's gone over to Croatia and Greece, and then Randall goes away for 3 months. But it's been really good that a lot of the girls have stayed in Adelaide to keep their footy and their skills up throughout that, and then playing with the NT Thunder as well, which has been good for them. So we've obviously had a few sessions with Clarko and he's been great so far. The girls getting so much better week in, week out, so it's really exciting to see what we're going to put forward for next season as well. A couple of new girls that will come on board, and exciting that we've picked up Renee Forth, so she'll be a great addition to our team, so exciting times ahead.
After the break, we'll explore the concept of the complete player and an early start to a love affair.
Well, our game has changed significantly over the years, and to succeed at the highest level, the modern player has to be multi-dimensional. In this segment, Toyota Hybrid Heroes, Crows players describe the ultimate hybrid footballer and identify the skills and attributes they would like to add to their game.
Yes, he can. Look out the back here. No, Greenwood strong. Overhead in the pack situation.
Guys can play multiple positions, but the rotations and things like that, guys are staying on the ground a little bit more now, and especially in the midfield, in order to stay on the ground, playing a forward, playing a mid, you've got to be able to have that endurance. So there's plenty of players. Certainly Sloaney's one that chucks around. He just goes and goes at a high level the whole game, so a little bit of that would be nice.
Important ball to be won. Smith had the speed.
Well played.
And the skill as well.
I definitely need a bit of speed. I cop a little bit for how I trot around the ground. Certainly need a bit of speed. One guy, Bruce Smith on our team, wouldn't mind if he could give me a little bit of his, that'd be handy.
Time now for the fans to have their say, and this week some young female supporters tell us why they love the game.
I like how fun it is and how you can just get out there and do whatever you want to do.
How you can get out there and just be you.
It's so much fun because girls footy wasn't a thing before, and now it's getting more popular and it's really fun. Playing outside and tackling people, marking the ball, kicking the ball and handballing. Tackling tackling, everything, scoring goals.
Everything. Smashing people down to the ground.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Let's stay with the fans and look for our crow in the crowd. Why don't we settle on you? If you recognise yourself, contact the club by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Have some photo ID handy and a merchandise pack will be yours, courtesy of Toyota.
Well, Alana, that just about wraps up our show, brought to us each week by Foodland. A reminder, for all the latest news, visit the club website, afc.com.au, plus the social media platforms.
That's right, and make sure you check out our own Twitter account, the handle @TheCrowShow.
Thanks for your company today. We look forward to joining you again next Sunday.
Yes, that's at 11:30 on 7. We'll see you then.
Bye for now.